You know how we all use the word depressed when we're just having a bad day? Well, what's the actual line between a temporary funk and clinical depression? The science here is fascinating, and it turns out we have way more control than we've been led to believe.
It's that feeling, right? A wave of sadness hits and it just camps out. So when does that feeling cross the line from just a normal emotion to something more? Let's get into it.
Okay, here's the key difference. Sadness, it's temporary. It's a reaction to something specific that happened. But depression, that's when that feeling sticks around. The official definition says it's a feeling of sadness or hopelessness that lasts more than 2 weeks and actually gets in the way of your day-to-day life.
So what makes depression so tough to get out of? Well, it's not just a feeling. It's a trap, a nasty feedback loop where the symptoms themselves actually create more symptoms, pulling you deeper and deeper in.
It usually kicks off with this massive power drain. Depression just completely saps your energy. You know that little bit of drive it takes to get up or just make breakfast? It shrinks. And sometimes it just vanishes.
So, with no energy, what happens? You withdraw. You stop doing things. You put off tasks. You avoid your friends. The whole world just feels far away. And for a second, it feels easier to just stop.
But here's the twist in the trap. All those unanswered texts, the chores piling up, that creates guilt, a sense of failure. And those feelings, they don't just sit there. They actively feed the depression, draining even more of your energy and locking that cycle in place.
So if it's not just a mood, what's actually happening in the brain? For decades, we were all told it was just a simple chemical imbalance. Well, that answer's wrong. The real picture is way more complex, and honestly, a lot more interesting.
We've all heard it, right? The serotonin theory. And listen, brain chemistry is part of the story, for sure. But calling it just a chemical imbalance is a massive oversimplification. The truth is that depression is this complex web of biology, psychology, and social stuff all tangled together.
Let's just look at what's in this web. You've got your genetics, the actual physical structure of your brain, and of course, big life events like stress and trauma. But some of the newer research also points to physical things like chronic inflammation and, this is a big one, our daily lifestyle choices. Okay, so a vicious cycle with a bunch of complex causes sounds pretty intimidating. But here's the thing. If we can understand the cycle, we can learn how to break it. And this is where the story starts to get really empowering. One of the most powerful, proven ways to do this is called behavioral activation. It basically flips the script. Instead of waiting to feel better to do things, you do things to feel better. It's all about breaking that cycle of doing nothing. You start super small. Do one dish, walk to the mailbox. The idea is to schedule little things that give you a sense of pleasure, like listening to one song, and a sense of mastery, like paying one bill. These tiny wins build momentum.
And these lifestyle changes, they have a huge, measurable impact. Check out this data from a massive Cambridge University study. It's incredible. The single biggest thing they found that protects against depression? Getting healthy sleep. That was linked to a 22% lower risk. Right behind that, not smoking at 20%, and having frequent social connections at 18%. These are not small numbers. They are real tools we can use. Which leads us to a really interesting question. We know our genes play a part. We know our lifestyle plays a part. But if you had to bet on which one has more power to protect you from depression, which one would you pick? The answer might really surprise you.
So let's put it head to head. Your DNA, the genetic hand you were dealt at birth, versus your day, how you eat, sleep, move, and connect with people. Which one really holds more weight?
And here it is, the stunning answer. That same Cambridge study gave people a genetic risk score. Having good genes, the lowest genetic risk, lowered the risk of depression by 25%. That's pretty good. But look at this. A healthy lifestyle lowered the risk by a staggering 57%. Let that sink in for a second. Your daily habits can be more than twice as protective as the DNA you were born with.
As Professor Barbara Sahakian, one of the study's authors, said, this means that even for people with a high genetic risk, a healthy lifestyle is, quote, potentially more important. In other words, our choices can actually override what our genes might suggest.
So here's the bottom line. Depression is a real, serious illness, no doubt about it. But it is not a life sentence. Understanding the cycle gives you a map, and knowing the power of your lifestyle gives you the tools to start rewriting your own story. Your day truly can be more powerful than your DNA.